Is this thing on?
All right, welcome everyone back to an episode of the Summits Podcast. Here we are, Q4 of the year, 2021, headed towards the year deuce deuce, as I like to call it. Today's episode, I'm pretty excited about, quite frankly, because we're getting our international flavor on a little bit with what I would say, my British brother from another mother. He probably won't want to admit that. Many may recognize this chap from the past two An Evening with Heroes galas. We would like to welcome Mr. Harry Santa-Olalla to the Summits Podcast. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here, and thank you for that lovely intro.
Hey, anytime. That's what we're here for.
Yeah.
I need to wind back a little bit. Did you say year deuce deuce?
Yeah, referring to the year 2022.
Yeah, okay.
I didn't get it at all. Yeah. I missed. What is that? Deuce deuce?
I'm 22.
Oh, God. Okay, right. There you go. I'm with you. Penny drop. It's a pleasure to be here. It really is, yeah. 2021, Q4. And, I'm pumped to be on the podcast. Thanks for having me.
Well, thanks for joining us. Well, my name is Vince Todd.
I'm Daniel Abdallah.
And we already introduced Harry. Harry, why don't you introduce yourself to our viewers and listeners with a little background? Obviously, you sound like you're from the state of Texas, but fill everyone in on where you're from and kind of some backstory there.
Bit of backstory, sure. So I am, the more astute of you will have sort of recognized that my accent is from England. I get a lot of people asking if I'm from Australia for some reason. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, very much British guy. Moved here 7 years ago, and here being New York City was where I moved to. I sort of bit of a little promo there. New York is not dead, just to confirm that. It is definitely not dead, despite rumors that are flying around. She's very much alive and kicking, and I moved there because it's kind of the fundraising mecca of the world. It just is. It's the best. I mean, in my opinion, it's the greatest city on the planet. But I'm in the fundraising world, and there's no better place to base yourself out of. I operate all over the U.S. and Canada and England as well. But the bulk of the heavy lifting is done in New York. I moved over 7 years ago with a company called Givergy, which is a technology that if you've been to any of the recent Heroes events, then you'll have probably have used it. If you haven't used it, then you're not doing it right. Like, you're not going to Galas in the right way, because that's where you're doing the silent auctions and the pledge moments. And actually, to be fair, it means I'm not doing my job very well as well, because if you're not using it, you haven't made a donation. Shame on you and shame on me. But the platform itself is a really very engaging sort of like interactive fundraising system. And so that's what sort of brought me over. And then I kind of accidentally morphed into an auctioneer, which is how I was then introduced to you, Vince.
What year did you come over to the U.S. to live?
To live legally, or I mean, I was bouncing back and forth quite a bit when I was trying to work out whether or not New York. Givergy has a huge. We're the market leader comfortably over in the UK. We more or less support all the major nonprofits in the UK. And
maybe I should have asked, when did you start? When did you guys start Givergy in the UK?
11 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah, 11 years ago. So it was 2009, 2010, and I was brought in right at the sort of embryonic phase of it. Literally 4 or 5 full-time team members in a office literally the size of this room here. in West London, a place called Notting Hill, made famous by Hugh Grant and
Yes.
Julia Roberts. Yeah, a little popular culture
Not where
reference.
Hugh was parked in his car.
You what? Sorry.
Not where Hugh was parked in his car.
No. And by the way, spectacular movie. If you haven't seen Notting Hill, truly is. I actually watched that on a plane a couple of years ago and was like crying at the end of it. Anyway, we digress. What happened? So yeah, we started it there, and it grew very quickly in the UK. Because the system, yeah, it's awesome. It's very good at, bringing fundraising events to life and making the process of donating and bidding and so on just much more fun and creative. And so I was working out whether or not it made sense to move over full time. So I was bouncing to and from, but I'd say I moved over in September 2000, and I want to say 14 would have been probably the time that I was fully committed. New York would not be the first to say that I've got perhaps commitment issues, but I finally did. And so I moved full time and haven't really looked back. I love the city. I love operating here in the US. Givergy has gone from strength to strength. My role, as you know, and I'm sure we'll explore, kind of moved away from Givergy full time. Well, I'm still very much an active member of the team and proudly so, but I'm sort of accidentally, as I sort of mentioned, a few years into my Givergy time in the US, ended up on stage for a handful of clients, and the rest is history. That's kind of what happened.
Sure. So you said 2014, you're over here, still doing the Givergy thing full time, which I guess didn't really change, but really focusing on the core product and the service that it provides to nonprofits like ours, and events in general. But then what was that kind of tipping point that, or maybe the initial instance that caused you to dip your toe in that other service, shall we say?
Right. Yeah. Well, a combination of things. One, it was kind of a very happy accident. It's sort of like, I mean, we've all been to plenty of galas and we've all had times where we're sort of sat there sort of rolling our eyes or working out how long we got left of a speech that's already 25 minutes going, and like, I felt like I'd really learned the process of how to keep, run of shows tight and make the most of the Givergy system throughout it. And more importantly, truthfully, from like quite a selfish perspective as a business owner and someone that wanted to see the growth of this platform that I know can do a great job for clients, I was getting frustrated because people on stage were sort of alluding to a platform that if you want to give, feel free to, pick up the tablet or use your cell phone. And it was kind of hinting at donate. I'm like, no. Like, you're at a gala, you're here raising money for cancer, supporting cancer victims, supporting, science research, you name it, schools providing, essential needs for kids at, Boys and Girls Club, whatever it is you're raising money for. You can't come to an event, indulge in the food and the wine and, get all dressed up, meet your future wife or husband, have a dance, get a little loosey-goosey and like leave spending less than you would on a Happy Meal. Like, that's not okay. So for me, I was seeing that and I was looking at the stats the whole time thinking like, Givergy can be doing better for clients and it needs to be pushed harder from the stage and just done in the, in a fun, engaging, tasteful way. And so truthfully, at the same time of me kind of getting a bit frustrated in the audience at a lot of these events, a couple of clients reached out and sort of said, hey, like, would you help us? If we carved out a bit of time in the run of show, would you help us promote the system? And that, I'd grown up doing a lot of acting and spent most of my sort of, up until sort of 21, spent a lot of time on stage and always loved it. And sort of jumped at the opportunity. And in New York, it's kind of a classic, like the American stories, like, it worked quickly and it worked well. It was good for Givergy and good for me. But overnight, it went from like, supporting a handful of events to, and 50 the next year, and the following year 100, and now I'm sort of exclusively focused on that. And Givergy is it's a very symbiotic relationship. There's the one supports the other, and very often one leads into opportunities. But Givergy supports thousands of events a year, and I can only do about 100, or I'm trying to actually scale back, to be honest, so I can really focus on being a much more consultative role within a campaign.
Okay. What was the very first event that you were on stage?
The very first event I was on stage was for, I think it was a big one for what was then called the Friends of Hudson River Park. Huge fundraiser in New York. And it was at Cipriani. Sorry, no, it wasn't. It was down at Chelsea Piers, about 900 people. So I kind of dived in right at the deep end. But I really did, I wasn't doing an auction. That's a big difference, right? So now I'm sort of more recognized as an auctioneer, as opposed to. Then the role was, you have 5 minutes to get people to use the platform in a pledge drive. And this was a client that had previously not got as much volume in donations. And so I was like, yeah, let's go. So up I go. And that's an event that's like, just, front row is just like solid A-listers. So it was quite intimidating, to be honest, but I really loved it. And sure enough, the system did its job. I did my job, and like got that taste of like, kind of like this. This is fun. And then, like, the next time I get a call, it's like, hey, we know you know how to use the pledge system on the Givergy. Can you sell some items as well when you're up there? And, there's a part of me that's like, well, aren't there professionals that do that? Isn't that like a thing? Don't you need like a certificate or some sort of verification that you know what you're doing? But then the other part of me, and the much bigger part's like, just say yes and just have fun and enjoy it and make the most. And very quickly it became something that's like part of my soul. Like, I love being on stage and raising money for organizations, and feeling like I'm making a difference. I love the idea of kind of the unscripted element to it, not knowing exactly what's coming next, building characters in the audience and trying to get a whole audience on side. And, I love it when a client's like, especially a first-time client, I love it when they say, oh, our audience is kind of, they can be quite boisterous, quite loud. So, I'm like, cool. Like, let's get them on. Yeah. And for me, I'm like, challenge accepted. Let's go. Because once you get them on side, that's when you get more spend out of people. And you never need to bully an audience into giving. You should never bully an individual into, they should feel part of a show. And that's what I love to bring. Like, I really do. And Givergy really helps facilitate that. And I'm very lucky. And truthfully, at the exact time that thing was happening, that kind of growth of the on-stage presence started to emerge, I was also really coming to terms with the fact that I'm a useless manager. Like, I'm not good. Like, I'm good at certain things, but Givergy was growing in the US, and the office was getting bigger, and the head count was getting bigger, and I'm dealing with all the nonsense that I'm no good at, people's, and the internet's not working at the office, or the cleaner's not showing up. It's the stuff that's like, I'm not good at that, So it kind of happened at a perfect time, because one of the other partners of Givergy could come in and just sort of take the reins and keep the ship moving in the right direction, and I can go and have some fun on stage and hopefully raise some money along the way.
Yeah. So I've seen, well, before we partnered up, I should say, and we were looking into kind of your background and when that service was brought to our attention, at that point you had already done some pretty cool events. Now that, fast forward 2 years or whatever it's been, and don't play favorites here, but what would you say is the 1 or 2 events that really stand out to you that were like real special, or just some of your favorite events, and why?
That's a good question. I mean, it depends on what makes it special, right? It's all relative. Sure. in our field, right? So for me, you know, if you were to Google my name, I guess the events that would come to the front are the big ones, you know, on stage for the likes of Amphar or, you know, Hudson River Park is one of them, but I don't do the auction for that. That's not me. But, you know, I do, you know, Rihanna's ball, the Black Diamond Ball, and Pencils of Promise, another big one in New York. And actually, I'm doing the God's Love We Deliver event this coming October 15th, which I think will be awesome for the industry because it's several hundred people in the room. It's hosted by Michael Kors and Anna Wintour, and God's Love We Deliver has been just it's just been an incredible operation and organization throughout COVID. It's just incredible what they've been doing. But you know, these are all very glitzy, glammy events. And so there are times when I'm on stage and I'm looking out, like, for example, you know, Rihanna's event, I got the run of show and I was sort of between Rihanna and Pharrell.
Seems natural.
And I got that run of show and I was sort of, when I was on stage, I was sort of looking out and seeing all the faces and the names, and I was thinking to myself, like, I have no business being on stage in front of these people. What on earth is happening right now? But truthfully, like, I just have fun. Like, I enjoy what I do, and that, you know, if you're good at it and you get the audience on side and they're having fun with you, you raise more money and everyone wins. You know, I've got a few friends who are actors and successful actors, and you know, they've actually been to events as well, and you know, seen me on stage. And they've said, like, there's no amount of money you could pay me to go up unscripted in front of several hundred people. And yet for me, that's like food for my soul. Like, I love it. I absolutely love it. So yeah, those are the big ones. And I love being involved with the likes of the Angel Ball, the Black Diamond Ball, or the Amphars and God's Love. And, you know, I'm very proud. I like the big moments. I love them. I love the challenge of those big lofty numbers, you know. The Philadelphia Fights Cancer, you know, we raised $13 million in our last on stage, wow. You know, on our last in-person event, I should say. Not we did a virtual event as well, but truthfully, the other side of it is, like, for every one of those, you know, big events, you know, 90% of the events are the ones you don't read about, you won't see in the news or on you know. It won't pop up, you know, when you Google it. So, and that's why I'm saying it's all relative. So if I can come to a campaign and look at the numbers and see, right, okay, last year you were raising $50,000, you know, for a local dance company in Rhode Island, for example, which comes to mind. If you can turn that into $120,000, which happened in our first year, you know, it's like 20% increase year on year. There's one client that I'll kind of finish on this anecdote on this one particular question, because it was a morning event. It's for the Eagle Academy in New York. It was at Gotham Hall, and it was a morning event before breakfast. And I'd looked at all the numbers. I'd used Givergy. I'd looked at all the numbers. I knew there was a bunch of opportunity in the appeal. And so I basically almost like forced them to use me on stage, because I know how to make that system sing. Yeah. Like I knew it. And, you know, it was a morning event because that saved costs. You know, the budgets were low, and I think they were really hopeful for, I think, $40,000 in the appeal on the first year. And look, there's a bunch of traders and executives in the room having breakfast, and, you know, 450 of them. And I kind of said to them, look, I'm the guy standing between you and trading, or you and your meeting at 9 a.m. So, like, until we get this done, no one's going anywhere. And it was so fun. They responded so well. We hit like $130,000. So it was like 3x the goal. The client is crying. And I remember, like, cycling away from that event. It was quite early in my time getting on stage and trying to feel out, like, is there something here? And I remember calling my friend and sort of being like, I mean, it's not even 9 a.m. I was up early. I've been to the gym. I've had a healthy breakfast. I've connected with some friends and family back in the UK. And I helped a client raise 3x their goal, and a bunch of kids are going to get scholarships. And, like, I mean,
It's a great day.
food
It's not
for
even
soul.
noon yet.
Like what? It's not even 9 a.m. I was like, this is what I want to do. I just knew it. And so in that sense, that for me is just so rewarding. I absolutely love it. So it's not, but you're not going to read about that event anywhere. You know, that's not the type of event that gets headlines or what have you.
Sure. Well, good on you for doing it. Good on you for loving what you do and sticking with it. I think that's great. Certainly what has helped attract us and partner with you. The partnership between the Heroes Foundation and you started for our, I should say, that was the 20th anniversary event when you had the pleasure of coming to Indianapolis. I knew it was on your bucket list of places to go.
Yeah.
And you know, true to form, I mean, you were there.
Yep. Yeah, it was awesome.
It went well.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah.
Daniel, did you donate?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Good.
Everyone did.
Yeah.
I think everyone at our table. So we, you know, as part of our company, we have a few tables there, and we brought in some friends of friends of friends, and everyone, like, they still talk about it. Like, there's still people that remember that guy that was running around on stage and stuff, and jumping off the stage and kicking down invisible doors and stuff. I mean, yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is, I think a lot of the time also people don't realize it necessarily, but they will have a better time if they donate. They don't realize it. And you got to make sure that you will leave having had a better time if you even if it's, you know, $50, $100. Like, it taps into an altruism that's inside all of us, and we don't necessarily know it's there until, like, we, you know, and if you can turn it into a team exercise and everyone does their bit, some people can give tens of thousands and some people can give $20. Like, at the back of the, you know, my job is to make everyone feel good in that moment and in that process so that we can collectively hit a goal and let us all, you know. And nothing irritates me more than when I see people kind of, I'll see often when it gets to an appeal, you know, particularly at top tables, people are sort of like embarrassed for their guests to get, you know, like, don't worry, I've got this, you know, sort of thing. I'm like, no, you're actually, you're robbing them of an experience that can feel good. Like, that is, that's all that matters in the world, right? Like, it doesn't really, it really is that is it. Like, that's what allows us as humans to feel, you know, is to be of service and to do something for other people. And that's essentially what a donation is. And so if you can tap into that, then everyone wins. Absolutely everyone wins. And that, you know, that I remember it very well, that first night in Indianapolis, and I'm so pumped to be going back. Like, and and also this is, you know, this, I'm not blowing smoke. As an audience, Indy's been good to me. I've done a few events in India. I love it there. I was actually I finally got to see the Speedway the other day. That thing is massive.
That is.
I couldn't believe it.
I heard you were in town. Little Birdie told me you were in town.
It was bonkers. It was huge, absolutely huge. Yeah, the Speedway track is like 3 miles. It was pretty cool. Yeah. So no, I'm excited to be back. I really, really am. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be part of this partnership.
Well, we're happy that you'll be back with us in January in a live event, not virtual. Come 2022, as in, you know, the year of the deuce. What? Real quick before we go on to the next piece, are you a fishing guide now?
Am I a fishing guide? No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Well, I love fishing, number one, but no, I'm actually out east. I'm not in New York right now. Well, I'm in New York State. I'm in a little place called Shelter Island, which you have to take a little ferry to. And my friend has kindly put me up in, I guess, is a study / sort of cabin-y study-esque thing for this podcast, and he has a fishing guide sign, which he created, obviously, for another friend of ours who we visited in Wyoming, who was our fishing guide, actually, for a couple of weeks, which was really cool. Yeah,
cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so I have to ask you, you know, as what the Summits podcast is centered around, obviously the topic of cancer and really what is behind the mission of the Heroes Foundation. So Harry, what is your cancer story?
My cancer, I mean, I touch wood again. My mother is a survivor of breast cancer. So that's the closest person to me that and she's been given the all clear, and that for me was, like I mentioned earlier, I'm the youngest of four. I mentioned offline before we got going, and so I think I was around about 12 or 13, and I think I was probably protected from a lot of the sort of the bad news that seemed to be sort of flooding in, and then ultimately was included in the joyous news when she was given the all clear after a surgery, and touch wood, long may that continue. But so yeah, my mother is without question the closest person to me that has fortunately come out on the right side of a battle with cancer. But there are one of my best friends in the world, or probably my best friend, just recently lost his mother to the same fight. And so it's it's a tough, nothing shuts an audience up more as well, I've found. If you're grappling with an audience and you sort of say, look, we're raising money for cancer support, to support cancer victims and their families, and put your hand up if you know someone who has been affected by cancer. There's no one who hasn't. The whole audience puts their hand up.
Right.
And all of a sudden, the guy that's giving unsolicited advice on how to play the markets and so on becomes just a little bit less appealing to listen to. It's a really serious subject that unfortunately has affected absolutely everyone. And quite a slightly different anecdote is that the other day, I mean, I was so shocked by this. I couldn't. A friend of mine, we were at a rooftop in Brooklyn, and we literally just ran into a friend of hers, and really nice guy called Chris. And this was 4 months ago. It would have been, about 4 months ago. And just the nicest guy. He must have been mid-30s, maybe a little bit older, a few years older than me. Huge beaming smile, literally looked the epitome of health. And I got a call from Anella the other day saying that he sadly passed away from cancer. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't, it just didn't make sense to me, and so it's ever present. We've got to be really smart. We talk about it in the Heroes event, making sure you're doing the regular checkups and you're taking care of yourself. And look, this is a guy that didn't smoke, didn't drink excessively, was in remarkably good shape. And, at under the age of 40 is sadly no longer with us. So yeah, I mean, it's, that's why we do these events. Like we just got to keep raising the funds. And one thing I do love about my job as well is how much I get to learn about the progress that's being made, which I don't think enough. Not through any fault of anyone, but I don't think people really get to see some of the incredible change and developments that are being made and the breakthroughs that are happening, which I get exposed to on a weekly basis. And one of the things I absolutely love about my job is, like, it's my job to learn what's happening, with each organization. And the ones that are linked to cancer, I mentioned Philly Fights Cancer is a huge cancer research, making massive gains year on year. And it's amazing to be even a small part of contributing to these institutions that are making massive differences. So sometimes because it's such an ever-present conversation, and you hear of, sadly, so many people who don't win that battle, it can feel like it's just an immovable object that will never be won. It's just a war that can't be. But actually, the stats are incredible. The amount of breakthroughs that are happening, and the longevity and the new drugs that are being developed, like it's incredible. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I know you love spontaneity, so we're going to go off script here for a minute, and we're going to allow you to ask us a question or two.
Here we go.
Oh. Okay, interesting. I'm going to start with you, Daniel.
Yep, let's go.
what actually got you involved with Heroes, and how did you meet Vince?
Yeah, so Heroes and Sessa both have been kind of around me for a while. In high school, I mean, the company that the Brookfield Group that I work for and that my dad started 30 plus years ago has helped Vince and his family and father for, I don't know, years now.
20 plus.
Yeah. And so from the beginning there, they've I helped set up computers in high school. I helped do things through college, and now continue to help them on a near daily basis, it seems like, based on Vince's texts.
I know that feeling.
Yeah.
As it gets closer to D-Day, I'm
Yeah.
getting
but yeah,
I had one of those yesterday, actually. Yeah. Hey, can we shoot some footage as well for the next year's campaign, like after the podcast? Like, a heads up would have been good. I'm literally in like my sweatpants. I'm out here with absolutely nothing in the middle of nowhere, no equipment or anything to do the thing. But anyway, I love it.
The only reason why he answered it because he thought it was a text from Bumble.
yeah, there it is. Yeah.
Stop. Why did that come up? Let's go back to Daniel.
Yeah.
Let's go back to
Sorry.
So-
exactly where you were at.
So yeah, we I went to the galas and stuff when I was younger, and then have been involved with it ever since. But I mean, my grandfather on my mom's side, he passed away from kidney cancer. My mom's uncle, he had cancer. He's in remission now. My mom's sister, she's actually an amputee, has had her leg amputated mid-thigh when she was 8 years old, I think, and it's been a crutch her whole life with cancer. She's had it actually 3 times and survived 3 times. She's a guest we'll have at some point in time.
For sure.
But my on my mom's side of the family, we've lost quite a few people to it, and so had been involved with Heroes as far as helping out like with the technology and some of the things. And then a couple years ago, Vince asked if I would join the board, and I was more than happy to jump on board and help out in every way I can. And great mission. I fully support everything that Heroes does, and just want to kick cancer in the nuts, honestly, and just kind of not have it be something that's in the everyday life or something that we talk about. So
yeah, no, for sure, it'd be nice to kick its ass. Vince, if you could have the dream lineup, right? What's your dream lineup for a Heroes Gala? So you get like 3 performers, 4 performers. I'm one of them. All right, so 3 performers.
Well, you would have been one of them to begin with. I mean,
Shut up. Stop it.
Harry, the Queen Mother.
Who's dead?
What?
Queen Mother died years ago.
Well, okay, sorry.
That's slightly off topic, but yeah. The Queen would be pretty
The
awesome.
Queen.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. I apologize.
That's all right.
Dude, I have my off-camera answer and my on-camera answer.
Oh no, I actually would love to hear the off-camera one.
We'll talk about that later.
Right.
I don't know. Okay, this is a really horrible politically correct answer. Whoever's going to bring the most to the night, to the cause. I mean, again, it sounds cheesy as hell. I get it, but like whoever's going to have the biggest impact on the audience there to do all the things that you mentioned. I mean,
Right.
I've been to multiple other events, as well as obviously seen all the stats of our own events for years, and you hit the nail on the head. Unbelievably, when you said there are a lot of people, and especially the ones that they come there as part of a sponsored table, so they're there for free.
Right.
Have a nice meal, have free drinks
Oh,
all
man.
night long.
Yeah.
Like you go out, if they went out on a regular Saturday night, they're gonna drop $50 to $100 or more, easy.
Yeah. Where are you going out on a set? $50? That gets you like a mocktail in New York.
yeah.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
But say you get what I'm saying. And to either not donate anything or you donate $20. Like, everyone has their own circumstances. I get it, but it's like, come on.
Yeah. No, that's without question. They are the bane of they're just baggage. You are paying to have them there, which is crazy. And so it's my job and the job of every other fundraiser that's on stage to make it very clear that it's not just a hint. It's like, that's not okay. Right. And the reality is about 80% of the room haven't paid to be there, which is crazy, you know. But that is the reality of fundraising. There's a lot of sponsored tables, and even the tables that aren't sponsored, is like one or two different people who are buying the table. So it's our job to make sure we make it clear, like, hey, now's your time to step up. Even if you're giving $20, that's still that's what you pay at a McDonald's, right? So like, you know, it's really not okay. But the other thing is, in my experience, it's not that people don't want to give or don't have the means to give. They haven't been asked to give in the right way. Yeah. That is what I found when I, all those years back, was sat in the audience kind of thinking like, we could be doing better. Like, statistically, Givergy can do better for our clients. And I think I can help facilitate that because I know how that system works. So I love that answer, though, because, like, look, it's nothing politically incorrect about it at all. I you know, the bottom line is, like, look, I have clients the whole time like, well, we got so-and-so who's coming to play a song for us. We think that might draw attention. I'm like, no, right? Like, who, you know, we got like Stephen Smith's going to play. I'm like, who's Stephen Smith? You know, he came second on X Factor in 2017. I'm like, wait a second. Like, you've lost your mind. No one is coming to, no one's paying money to come and watch that. Right. And if they are, they're not going to spend more money when they're there, right? Mm-hmm. And the other thing is, celebrities, more often than not, don't spend at the event. So they better be a good hook to pull people in. Sure. But you still evaded the question. You got to give me one. Who would you like to see on stage?
All right, just off the cuff. So 3 people you said. Okay, so that's 1. So here's the other 2.
I was joking about me, but
I'm not. No, I'm not, because you're gonna bring the thunder. Here's the other 2, and they're married.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wait.
And here's why. And I won't say their names so you can guess. I think he commands attention. So when he speaks, people listen. And no, he's not a politician. I don't want to go the politics route. That's a loss. Sorry.
Yeah.
And his wife, aside from being very attractive, super intelligent, super philanthropic, and I just think there you go, boom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think the 2 of them would be phenomenal.
No, I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot.
And most people don't realize he's a Midwest guy originally. I believe he's from Kentucky originally. So we can talk about basketball. We can play basketball during the day. I know you're going to run around like a freaking madman.
Yeah. I would just, I'd be too starstruck. He's dreaming. What a dream. Yeah, they both are. Damn, yeah. She's like scarily just intimidating, that couple.
And then when at the end of the night, when we've had a massively successful event, we can sit around a table and have a little Nespresso together.
Yeah, lovely stuff. There we are. Plug Nespresso. The ad's going to come up from there. Yeah. George Clooney. Yeah, not a bad shout. I would give I'd give almost anything to get some stage time with Bruce Springsteen. I would love that. Yeah. I've been very lucky to be on stage with some amazingly accomplished people that, you know, I feel like I'm a fraud even sharing the same stage with them.
Oh, I don't mind sharing the stage with you at all.
Look at you. He's quick today, isn't he, people? But Bruce Springsteen, I don't know why. That guy, I've watched him so many times live. Every single time he blows my mind, like how he delivers every single time. And then the other thing is, you can just, you quickly sign a guitar, and those things sell crazy.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. So I am desperate to have that moment as well. What about you, Daniel? Who would be like your apps? You're in the audience. You've been invited over. And bear in mind, now you're an audience member. Okay, so you've had you've had the organizer who says, I want money. Like, totally fair. I get that. So who's going to bring the money? He's very, very graciously, because I'm here, said that he would want me on stage to bring the thunder. Who are you, as the audience member, most excited about to hear? We have a special guest tonight, and it is...
If I were smart, I would have been thinking about this ahead of time. But well, after you dropped that on Vince there, wow, it's a lot harder when he asks you the question and you have to come up with it. Yeah, it is. Let's see.
Come on, I mean, right? Like, who's like the bucket list? Who would who would you really struggle to keep composed with if you met face to face?
A lot of people, actually. I mean,
I'm deep diving here. This now feels like therapy. Yeah.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel? Yeah. Well,
CEO of
too
Apple.
much.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of where my head goes, is kind of like for me it'd be someone maybe like if I'm putting myself in the audience, and someone that I would get engaged by, it'd be someone in kind of that tech world that like
Elon Musk.
I mean I don't mind Elon, but he's kind of, I feel like he's overplayed. Like Tim
you're on
Cook
first name terms as well now, aren't you?
Say what?
You and Elon are on first name terms as well.
Yeah. I mean
the big E.
Exactly.
The big E.
Yeah, we hang out occasionally. But like Tim Cook, I read something about him recently about what he's been able to do after Steve Jobs, and like his ability. Like he's probably one of the least talked about CEOs that have taken over an enterprise like that, and actually taken it and 10x'd it with what they've done. And just hearing him talk in person, I think would be fantastic. And I just think something, he would just be complete oddball at an event or something like that. Like I don't see him ever being on stage or something like that. I mean, he's on stage all the time.
He's been in the audience at an event of
Oh,
mine.
and he's a survivor too, actually.
Oh, really?
I believe so.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Yeah, he's been in the audience at an event that was in San Francisco. It was kind of the bigwigs from Apple and Salesforce, and Mark Benioff was he had a spectacular moment at that auction whereby he was up against, I want to say at the time it was the CEO of Slack at the back of the room. And bear in mind, I'm on stage with Chris Tucker in full black tie. Everyone's in black tie. Mark Benioff on the front row. I'm not kidding. He's in a Hawaiian shirt and flip flops.
That's not surprising.
I was like, yes, I like this guy. And he's a huge guy, and basically, just so tall and just like a bear. The item was, I think it was to do a week on set for Space Jam 2, which was LeBron James, and you spend a week, and for your kids to go around set. I don't think it's Mark Benioff who's going to be sort of sat around watching. You can have your kids go and sort of meet LeBron and spend time on set. And I was doing like $10,000 increments, whatever. And he was like, I'm not playing around with that. So he was just dropping $500,000 increments or whatever. I can't remember what it was. It was some, I was like, I literally started laughing. I was like, well, we've lost our minds. Like, this is fun. And it's just, but that's when philanthropy is just like so much fun. When people are just, they're not caught up too much about just the dollar amounts. It's like there was a bit of a show going on. There was a lot of tech guys and girls in the room who were kind of, it was a really cool event, and it was all for an amazing cause. So it's like, and actually who's the CEO of Airbnb? He was in the news recently for offering free beds to Afghanistan refugees, which I thought was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
He had a table too and was bidding really, really well. Which
I don't know,
great.
but any of those folks are more than welcome to be in Indianapolis in January. That'd be fantastic. Be great. Just to say.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
Salesforce has a huge contingent here in Indy.
Yep.
So Mark, bring the Hawaiian shirt in January, the flip flops. It's all good.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. 29th of January for those of you who are
That's
wondering.
right.
29th of January, 2022. And it's going to be a great night.
Yeah. So Kaplan, I know you're watching. It's your job to get Mark here because he's your boss, and I'll pay for the table. You guys just show up.
Probably the boss's 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 boss. Yeah.
Perhaps, but whatever.
Probably several removed. Because only when you go to San Francisco and you see this whole skyscraper that has Salesforce on the side, it's like something out of a Marvel movie.
Just so you know, Indy has one too. I mean, is it taller or shorter than the San Fran one?
Oh, I have no idea.
Anyway,
yeah,
but
I'll have to Google it.
It's all
later,
good.
though.
I did not know.
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So they acquired a company called Exact Target here in Indianapolis, and now
Okay.
they obviously realize, hey, Indy's a hell of a lot cheaper operation than San Francisco. So they
apparently if a night out's $50, then
well, I mean, I'm being reasonable. $50 is not going to get you steak and shrimp cocktail at St. Elmo's, but anyway, which is where we're going when you get back in town.
Yes.
So another little plug, Craig. You're welcome. All right. Any other questions for us?
Truthfully, I know people probably think this is all staged, when you watch these things back, but I didn't know that I was going to be asking any questions. I thought I did all right. I just threw that out there. I thought we harvested some good stuff.
We did,
Daniel went techie, all nerdy. He did
it's on brand.
Techie stuff, yeah. And actually, true to form, really. You were focused on the cash, Vince. I was focused on, arguably one of the best entertainers out there.
Clearly.
And Danny was running point on all the graphics. I'm only joking.
That's okay. It only hurts a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Well, in short order, we'll wrap up here. Hey, Harry, thank you again, seriously, for joining us. We appreciate you taking the time out, sharing your background, your story, and obviously our partnership. We appreciate you. And thank all of you viewers and listeners for taking in this episode. If you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe to our channel, hit that little notification bell so you can find out when new episodes drop. And don't forget, beat cancer.